welcome to today's video. My name's Amy if you're new here, and today we have a kind of how to get over a relationship slash how to be single and how to be living your best life kind of guide, kind of points, just kind of me, a rambling video about how to get over a breakup and how to be living your best life. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, or if you need some tips, or if you know someone else that might need some tips, then definitely stick around. So just for some context, my name's Amy and I'm 20, and I got out of quite a long-term relationship about 3 months ago, and I just thought I would give you guys a guide on kind of, I've split it up into 3 portions, kind of the start, like first bit, once you've just broken up, kind of the starting to get back out on the field again, and kind of self-love and how to enjoy it being single, kind of guide. So if you'd like to see my guide, then just keep watching. So the start, you've just broken up in whatever context that is, whether that's you breaking up with them, them breaking up with you, whether it was mutual, whether it was good, whether it was bad, whether it was kind of because of a bad situation or just you grew apart. Kind of all things kind of lead to the same path. You're on your own for maybe the first time in a while, and you're feeling pretty shit. Now, that is completely valid. Everyone kind of feels shit after a breakup. No one really feels good. So it is shit. And people always say every day it will get better, which yes, it does to an extent. My way of saying it is it will get less shit every day. It's still going to be really bad. You're still going to be feeling really rubbish, and that feeling rubbish probably won't go away for a really long time. And even when you feel like you're completely better, there's still a bit of you that's probably still going to be sad about the end of a relationship. So it will get better every day, potentially, but it'll probably get less shit every day, and that's almost guaranteed. Kind of time is kind of the best healer in this situation, so eventually you will get better, but it will take time. And also, no, it's not kind of a linear thing. I know there was like a whole week where I was absolutely fine, and then I just had a breakdown, and that's completely fine, and everyone goes like that. So just know it's kind of not a linear thing. You might see something that reminds you of them, and then you might go up or down depending on kind of how you're feeling. So just know that it's kind of an up and down situation. You're not going to kind of be fine the whole time. So that is the first tip. The next thing is try not to make them jealous. Now, I know, especially if you've ended badly, this can be really tempting. I don't think we've all been in situations where we would like to make that person a little bit more jealous, but ultimately that only really tends to affect you. You're then checking if they've seen your picture or whatever you posted, and ultimately it kind of just makes you feel a bit rubbish, and it's making you think about them. And revenge isn't the best thing to do. Kind of, I think the best thing to do if you have ended badly, do you kind of want to get back at them a little bit, is just be living your best life and just be really enjoying yourself. And ultimately that's kind of the best revenge anyone can ever have, is just be you living a good life and then not worrying about what anyone else thinks. And that's the best thing you can do. So no matter how tempting it is, don't get your friend to put on an oversized hoodie and get a picture as if they're your boyfriend. Don't do it, because it will only ultimately make yourself feel bad, because you'll be the one checking to see if they've seen it. The next thing is muting, unfollowing, blocking, whatever method you want to go for. That is completely valid and kind of a good idea. So I tend to go for the mute option. It doesn't look savage, like you unfollowed or blocked them. But ultimately that isn't savage, and we need to kind of destigmatize that. But if you need to mute them for your own kind of good and your own mental health, then definitely do that. I think we live in a world where we're kind of worried about upsetting people. And obviously if you've muted someone, they can't tell anyway. But I think it's just a good thing to do, because I know before I've been having a really good day, I've been feeling really positive, I've not been missing them at all, and then you see a picture of them and it kind of like a stomach, like it's kind of like a punch right to the stomach, and it makes you feel a bit shit, and it's really rubbish. And we've all been there, I think. Even if you see them out in public, if you see an Instagram photo, if you see a bit of like homeware or whatever that reminds you of them, it can actually just make you feel really rubbish. In an otherwise day you would be feeling fine. And I think if you mute them and you don't have kind of the risk of that happening, you will feel so much better. And although you might want to be checking up on what they're doing, and if ended badly and you don't necessarily want to miss out on things, let them know they can text you. You can text them. Like ultimately, like that is fine if you've had that kind of breakup, that you're okay with that. But I think even if you have had a really healthy breakup, to message them and be like, hello, I'm going to mute you or unfollow you for whatever, like, and just say, like, just be open and just be like, it really hurts to see photos of you right now because I am missing you. I think it'd be better for both of us if I unfollow. And I think that's a really easy way. And we need to kind of get over our fear as like a society of upsetting people, or kind of just letting other people know you're taking a step back from them. And if you need to do that to get over them, then you can do. And if down the line you want to follow them, you go and follow them. But ultimately you've got to kind of listen to how you feel when you see that post. If you're looking at their post and thinking, oh my gosh, this makes me feel rubbish, If you are stalking their Instagram, maybe it's best for you if you block them. And yeah, sometimes that's needed. So kind of destigmatizing this whole muting, blocking, whatever you need to do. Listen to how you're feeling when you see a picture. If it's positive, stay following them. If it's negative, unfollow them. And it goes for any profile that you are following. The next kind of point is surround yourself with people that make your soul happy. Now, this isn't just people that make you happy. Oh no. There's people that make your proper whole being happy. Now, I think we all have people that we like to hang around but sometimes feel a little bit drained afterwards, sometimes don't feel the best about ourselves afterwards, and it's not to say they're a bad person, just ultimately they're maybe not the right people for you right now. But we all have people in our lives, hopefully, that genuinely make us feel happy and genuinely want what's best for us. And whether that's meeting up with them to have a cry, to have a rant, or just for them to distract you and make you feel better, then surround yourself with them people. Don't bother yourself. Hang around with people that don't make you really, truly happy. Because ultimately, at that point in your life, you need to be hanging around with people that fill you with energy and happiness. And that's exactly who you need to be seeking out for. So just think about who makes you most happiest after you see them. Afterwards, how are you feeling when you've seen them people? If it's good, then see them again. If it's bad, then maybe take a step back for a while. And also, you've got to remember that in this time, you're probably not feeling your best, and the way you're with other people might not be as great company. So some people might not thrive off that, and some people then therefore might not be the people you have to see at the moment. And then if people are really good at giving advice and certain things, then you know kind of how you feel after you've seen someone. So pay attention to that and make sure you're filling your time with them. And this kind of leads on from that is do all your favourite things. Do all the things that make you happy, whether that's going shopping, doing some baking, cooking, I don't know, cleaning, anything, whatever makes you really, really happy, then do that. So kind of soul search things you like. I'm quite lucky that I've got loads and loads of hobbies I really enjoy. So I know I can do that, make some content, whatever it is, I can do that. And you can join your friends in this if you say, let's have a baking day, let's have a movie day and watch our favourite genre of films. Like, you can do that. And I think filling your time and having at least one good thing to look forward to every day is a really, really good and easy task. Now, this doesn't mean you have to make grand plans of like grand going out for dinner, going to the cinema, going up to London, whatever. It can literally just be like, bake a cake today, Amy, or take a nice Instagram photo, or do little things. And I think writing lists is really good of like little things you want to achieve. And then just knowing you've done one thing every day that's made you happy is really good. Even if it's like pop down the shops, go to Tesco's, like whatever it is, they do definitely help. So definitely do that. And then finally, for kind of the start of a breakup, focus on your work, or if your work isn't something you really like, focus on your passions. Work out what things you love. So I'm quite lucky that I'm self-employed and I love my work. So I know I can kind of throw myself into that if I want to. Then equally, I've got lots of my passions like sustainable fashion, body positivity, and I can make content for that. Just really home in on what you're passionate about, home in on your work, and really just fill your time. I think the start of a breakup, and I think the best way to get over a breakup, is just keep yourself really busy and just do all the things that do make you happy. But equally as well, if you want a day where you watch movies or watch Netflix, eat loads of food, then that's okay too, and we all need days like that. So, part 2, you're kind of over the first bit. You're still okay to be a little bit in the first bit, but part 2 is kind of the whole dating thing and how to kind of navigate that when you're out of a relationship. So the first point I've made is you are not moving too fast. If something feels right for you and the person on the other side knows exactly what they're getting themselves in for, then you are not moving on too fast. I think you kind of know in your soul when you're ready, and as long as you're doing it for the right motivations, which we'll get onto later, ultimately you are not moving on too fast. If it feels right for you, then go for it. So the next point I've got is talking to people as a distraction. You can do that as long as you're super, super, super clear with your motivations. So I know we've all kind of jumped back on Tinder and kind of chatting to people, and ultimately you don't want a relationship now. You're only a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever out of your relationship. You might want to take some time. So if you want to talk to people as a distraction, see what's out there, and just generally, I think the way we describe it is talking to people as a distraction. I know I just described it as that, but the way we talk, let's say that, it seems like we're using them for a selfish reason. If you are talking to people to see what's out there, to have communication, to connect with different people, that's amazing. And as long as you're really clear with your motivations, so you may be ready for a relationship, but me personally, I knew that I wasn't. So then I could just say, hey, I'm just looking to chat right now. I'm not looking for anything serious. And I think especially guys are really good at communicating that. I want something casual. I want a friends with benefits. I just want to chat to people. Like, guys are really good at doing that. And I think, I know I'm not personally, I don't know about other girls, but I find it really hard to communicate that I'm not really looking for something serious, and which is completely ridiculous because we can also just want to look for something casual as well. So just make sure you're super clear with your motivations, and then you know that no one gets hurt. So again, the next one, kind of similar, but make sure you're dating for the right reasons. Now, I think this is one that we've all been kind of told, but never kind of like listen to and kind of ignore a little bit. So by this, I mean, make sure you aren't talking to people just for validation about yourself. So I know we've all been guilty of it, where you post an Instagram picture purely just to get them likes, purely just to get them DMs. And we've all done that the same way that we might be talking to people just to kind of get validation, get compliments, get all of that. And although that's really good and that's really fun and that really can help boost your self-esteem, ultimately you need to make sure you do love yourself before you're looking for someone to love you. So just make sure you're in it for the right reasons. Make sure you do feel really valid in yourself. Make sure you feel confident in yourself. And that is a really long journey and something we're going to touch on in the self-love portion. But yeah, just honestly make sure you're not dating for the wrong reasons. Make sure you're doing it because you want to chat to people, you want to connect, you want to potentially find a new relationship. Just make sure you're doing that all for the right reasons. So the next thing we've already touched on is if you want something casual, communicate that. Now this can even be down to the details of what you want. You can be fussy, you are single now, you don't have to make kind of compromises, you do whatever you want to do. So if you literally just want a friends with benefits, literally just tell people that when they ask you what you want. I'm just looking for friends with benefits, and that's completely fine, because as long as you communicate what you want, then no one is getting misled into what they're getting. So make sure you just kind of put it out on the line, what you want, what you don't want, then people will know whether they'll slot into that, and if they don't want that, they can stop talking to you. And my final point of datings, kind of my dating tips, is have high standards and don't settle. Now, I mean this in literally every aspect of your life. You are single, you only have to work for yourself now, you only have to do things of what you want. So in every aspect of your life, have high standards and don't settle, but especially when talking to people. Now, this can literally be for the most casual of chatting to people. Sometimes I get messages and I just don't respond. If people aren't like your sort of people, and you can tell that from the first message, you don't owe people a response. I think I was really guilty of this. I felt like I owed to respond to people, when in reality you really don't. And just make sure you have super high standards. And if you don't think you're going to gel with someone, let them know that. Just be like, I don't think we will like gel per se, so I'm gonna have to leave it here. And just literally just be honest with what you're feeling and what you're thinking, and ultimately have really high standards. And even if you don't know what you want, still have high standards. I think ultimately in our gut we know. So like, you may think you want someone, I'm going to use an appearance as an example, but actually this could be personality as well. You may say, I really want someone tall, and you don't have to settle then for someone shorter if you don't want to. The same way, if you say, I really want someone that really likes sustainable fashion, you don't have to settle for that. Like, ultimately, in the end, when you're in a relationship, you do end up settling, compromising, but at the start, you really don't have to, and you can really have high standards, even if that's something super casual, like even really, really high standards for friends with benefits, for something casual. Anything, have high standards and stick to them, and that is the best way to make yourself super happy. And I think that also, not even just in dating, but in friends as well, really have high standards and hold people to them high standards, and don't kind of let people get away with treating you a bit rubbish, because ultimately you don't need that stress in your life right now. You've already got enough stress dealing with your breakup. Then the last section, which is definitely my favourite section, is self-love. Now, this is something I feel like I'm doing really well on right now, if I may say so myself. And I am really loving myself, loving my life. And I feel like this is the perfect thing to end on. So if dating isn't for you, and even if dating is for you, you still need to incorporate self-love, and definitely incorporate this even when you find someone, which I think is the thing we kind of miss out normally. So you are single, maybe you're dating, maybe you're not, but the number one thing, which I would say is probably the best thing on this list, is date yourself / your friends. Now, I don't mean this literally, I mean you can, but for me, dating myself means literally taking myself to the cinema, buying myself nice things that I want, listening to myself, talking really kindly about myself, and all of these things are a really good way to kind of date yourself. Like, it sounds really silly, but it ultimately is the best thing anyone can do. Like, show the love that you would show to a partner, to yourself, and ultimately you realise how great that is. And if you don't want to date yourself, or you can do this and date someone else, date your friends. Now, I don't mean this literally. I mean, take your friends, text them and say, should we go for dinner tonight? Let's get dressed up and go here. Let's go to the cinema. Or even buy a friend a bunch of flowers. Do good things that to the people that are really good to you, and show a little bit of love back. So if your friend's going through a tough time, go and support them, and just take the time that you would normally have with a boyfriend and show that as much of that appreciation as you can to the people in your life that you do love and do really appreciate. Because I think quite often we miss out on friends in showing our appreciation to them. Text them, good morning, how are you doing? Like, everything that you would normally do to a significant other, do to yourself and your friends. To an extent. That sounds kind of wrong. The next point I've got is talk to yourself kindly, give yourself compliments. And I think that kind of leads into the one before. Don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to someone else, and just ultimately talk to yourself really kindly. If you do something good, be like, wow, you did great there, and really big yourself up. You're allowed to be overconfident in yourself, because that is what we all should be striving to be. My final point is explore yourself and find out who you are, which I know is super cliche and a super kind of cringy one to end on, but ultimately this is the perfect time to do that. Like, I'm quite lucky that I always knew what I liked, and I'd say my relationship before was quite healthy in the fact that we both had time to explore what we enjoyed, had our own hobbies, had our own friends. But now you have the perfect amount of time with no distractions. You can really find out what you actually really like, and this is such an amazing thing. And then once you find out what you like, then you can implement that in your life, whether that is baking, cooking, thrifting, making content, having a YouTube channel, watching Netflix, whatever it is that really makes you happy. Do that and explore that. Find out who you are physically. Go to the gym. Do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel good and make yourself feel valid, and listen to podcasts you like, listen to YouTube videos you like, and ultimately you have this whole time to really find out who you are. And then eventually down the line, if you want to get in a relationship, you know who you are, you know you won't settle, you'll know what you like, what you don't like, you'll know what your green flags and red flags are, and ultimately that is the best way to kind of love yourself, and it's just allow yourself to explore, try new things. If you don't like them, you don't like them. If you like them, you've got a new hobby. And yes, that was a super rambly video, but I really hope that helped and gave people a little bit of positivity that if you are just going through a breakup right now, it definitely will get better. And cut to a couple months down the line, you'll feel super content and happy, and like you will get there. And I think it is a really long kind of process, and I don't think you're probably ever really truly over someone and completely 100%. I think they'll always kind of carry with you a little bit, but like ultimately no, it will get better. And if you need anything, send me a DM, comment on the video. If you have any other tips, leave them below. Like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe if you are not, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.